The music was soft, the laughter loud, and the dance floor sparkled under golden lights. Everyone at the wedding was celebrating, except for one young woman. She sat quietly in her wheelchair near the back of the room, her eyes glistening not with joy, but with the kind of sadness that comes from being invisible in a crowd full of smiles. Her name was Emily. She was the daughter of one of the most powerful CEOs in the city. Her father, Richard Morgan, was known for his confidence, his money, and his influence. But tonight, even his wealth couldn't buy what Emily longed for most: kindness. As couples twirled and families gathered for pictures, no one seemed to notice her sitting alone. No one, except one man, a single dad named Jake. And what he did next would change more than just Emily's night. It would change her father's heart, and remind everyone in that room what kindness truly means. Before we dive into this emotional story, if you believe in the power of kindness and second chances, please take a moment to subscribe to Kindness in Action. Don't forget to like this video and share your thoughts in the comments. We love hearing stories of compassion from people like you. Your support helps us keep spreading warmth and hope through real, heartfelt stories. The story begins in a small town just outside of Chicago. Richard Morgan was a man who built his empire from scratch. He had everything: luxury cars, a mansion on the hill, and respect wherever he went. But his heart had grown distant over the years. Success had taught him how to lead, but not how to listen. His daughter Emily was the light of his life once. When she was little, she'd follow him everywhere, wearing his business hat and pretending to take phone calls. But everything changed 5 years ago, when Emily was in a car accident. She was only 20 when her world shattered. The doctors said she'd never walk again. Since then, she'd learned to adapt, but deep inside, she still carried the pain of being seen as different. People often didn't know what to say around her. They pitied her, but rarely treated her like an equal. That hurt more than the paralysis itself. Her father tried to help, at least financially. He got her the best wheelchair, hired caregivers, and renovated the house. But what Emily wanted most wasn't money. She wanted her dad to see her, not as his broken child, but as his daughter who still had dreams, humor, and love to give. The wedding they were attending that night was for Richard's nephew, a grand family event filled with executives, investors, and socialites. Richard saw it as a networking opportunity. Emily saw it as a chance to feel normal again. She wore a beautiful blue dress, her hair curled softly around her face. She looked radiant. But as the night went on, she noticed how people's eyes slid past her, how no one invited her to dance, how conversations hushed when she rolled by. Even at her own family's table, she felt like a guest in her own life. Across the room, Jake sat with his 10-year-old daughter, Lily. He wasn't part of the elite crowd. He was a mechanic who had fixed one of Richard's cars years ago, and somehow got invited through a mutual friend. He was humble, kind, and raising his daughter alone after losing his wife to cancer 3 years earlier. Jake didn't have much, but he had one rule he lived by: always see people, not things. As the music changed to a slow, romantic tune, he noticed Emily sitting alone. Her smile was polite, but her eyes were distant. Lily, who had been watching too, tugged on his sleeve and whispered, "Daddy, why is that lady all by herself?" Jake looked over. "I don't know, sweetheart," he said softly. "Maybe no one's asked her to dance." Lily frowned. "That's sad." And in that simple moment, Jake decided to do something. He walked across the room, past the champagne glasses, past the curious stares, and stopped in front of Emily's wheelchair. "Hi there," he said warmly. "Beautiful night, isn't it?" Emily looked up, a little startled. "It is," she replied softly. "I'm Jake," he said, smiling. "And this is my daughter, Lily. We were wondering, would you like to dance with us?" Emily blinked, unsure how to respond. "Dance?" she repeated, glancing down at her wheelchair. Jake nodded. Yeah. We're not very good, but we try. For the first time that night, Emily laughed, a real laugh. I can't exactly twirl, she said shyly. Jake crouched beside her. That's okay, he said. You don't need to twirl to feel the music. Something in his voice, gentle, sincere, made her say yes. Jake rolled her onto the dance floor. The crowd quieted for a moment, surprised. No one had expected the CEO's daughter to be dancing, and certainly not with a man in a worn suit and a little girl holding his hand. But as the music played, something magical happened. Jake and Lily moved around Emily, spinning and laughing, and she swayed her upper body to the rhythm. For the first time in years, she wasn't the girl in the wheelchair. She was just Emily, laughing, glowing, alive. When the song ended, the room erupted in applause. Even the band smiled. Emily's father, watching from a distance, felt something he hadn't felt in years, humility. He realized that while he had spent years trying to protect his daughter from pain, he had also protected her from joy. He had built walls of comfort instead of bridges of connection. And it took a stranger, a simple man with a kind heart, to show him what true care looked like. After the dance, Richard approached Jake. That was beautiful, he said, clearing his throat. Thank you for doing that. Jake smiled. No need to thank me. She deserved to be part of the celebration, just like anyone else. Richard nodded, his eyes misting. I've failed to see that. Later that night, Richard sat beside Emily. I'm sorry, he said quietly. Emily turned to him. For what? For not seeing you. For thinking I could fix things with money. Tears welled up in her eyes. Dad, I never wanted you to fix me, she said. I just wanted you to be there. He took her hand. I'm here now, he promised. From that night on, Richard changed.